All right, welcome to another episode of the chaos that we call the Lockdown Podcast. Continuing to pick apart Raw and SmackDown, give our personal feelings towards certain things, admitting some things are good, some things are bad. Basically, talk shit about WWE if sometimes, but it's all good. We love the product at the end of the day. So we are on the precipice of season 4, which is mind blowing for me. Um, because sometimes, in the very beginning, I had to do episodes by myself, but I had to keep the ship rolling, right? And so we are episode 24 right now. 26 will be the end of season 3, and season 4 will lead us into the promised land of SummerSlam. And boy, it's been a journey. So I appreciate you guys basically invoking on the ride that is this podcast. So let's get to it. So we have Evolution on Sunday next week. We have a Saturday night's main event on this Saturday. Um, Very thrown together cards, very unenthusiastic cards. Definitely not a built up card, just kind of thrown together. And it sucks because Evolution is supposed to be this grand and glorious all women's, PLE, and we've really gotten no build towards it, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm still good with them having it. I think it's, come a long way to even have the second one. But I wish they would have put more build on it. I wish they would have built up to more matches, built up to higher quality matches, because essentially we have a semi-filled card right now. We'll get to it in a bit, but yeah. So basically, both champions basically got to choose their opponent for Evolution, which is a little bit silly, but so Raw kicks off with Io Sky basically choosing Rhea Ripley. Um, and honestly, there's at least a story to this.
Mhm.
Just because, Io's the one that took it off Rhea in the first place right before WrestleMania, which absolutely sucked. But I think Io's done the best she can with the very limited time they've given her. Um, just because they haven't really done anything with her in her whole championship reign at this juncture. And there's been a lot of other looming stories that have taken more precedence than her being champion. Unfortunately, I feel like we're getting the bloodline saga all over again with Ulafala. Where there's stories that are more important than the championship, unfortunately. But I'm all for Io Sky and Rhea Ripley to run it back, though. So
Same
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
So we get, and again, this is a thrown together match, it feels like, but Finn Balor and JD McDonough face off against the New Day. Um, and I know we've talked absolute dog shit about Judgment Day and, oh, they're going to fall and they're going to this and they're going to that. And yet somehow Finn Balor, JD McDonough win. And now every last motherfucker in the Judgment Day has
As a
gold.
pile.
Yeah,
So
that's really wild when
foot and
wish
mouth.
upon someone's downfall and all of a sudden now they all have gold. All wanted to see Finn Balor leave Judgment Day. We wanted to see it implode. We still have time to get our Christmas wish, but them winning championships means that there's something bigger coming along, and I think it might all like happen at SummerSlam. But the real story between this, is the nudging and the pairing of Roxanne Perez with Rachel Rodriguez, because Liv Morgan is hurt and she's going to be out for a while. So there's some news stories coming up, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna get
I don't think the
Judgment
implosion is going to
Day.
happen.
I don't
Yeah,
know, but when
happening anytime soon.
when
Yeah,
she stands next to her, she is short.
Well, yeah, I
Like,
mean,
I don't know if she's shorter than Liv, but dang, she's short.
Cal Rodriguez is about 5 foot even, so she's basically about the same height as Zelina Vega. But I tell you though, I tell you with certainty that you don't sleep on Raquel or on Roxanne Perez though. Like she excelled extremely well in NXT, and I don't think that there's any signs of her slowing down on the main roster. So, I like the pairing with Judgment Day as much as I don't like the Judgment Day. I think her bravado, her attitude, her mentality is very Judgment Day-esque. Now, although the Liv Morgan thing was actually real, and this is just kind of plan B, I feel like it's actually going to be better in the long run, you know, from a story aspect of her just kind of coming in and kind of taking Liv's spot.
I think it's gonna be great when Liv comes back. I think it's gonna lead up to a nice, good feud between those two.
It's like a Bob Ross painting, man. No mistakes, just happy accidents. So I'm all for it. I think it's unfortunate. We obviously wish Liv the best in her recovery. Obviously, the injury was pretty gruesome. If you've seen it in slow motion, you really see
it. It was just nasty.
Like, so, I mean, it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter how long you've wrestled. It doesn't matter how polished you are. Things happen. So, again, we wish her the best.
Mistakes does happen.
So we get this run back with Rusev versus Sheamus, and the crazy fact of the day is that Rusev has never lost to Sheamus. And it's kind of weird. I think it's like 4 or 5 matches, I think so. And Rusev has won every last freaking one of them. So I feel like this is the start of a good banger trio match. I think the succession of this match is Sheamus finally beating Rusev. Maybe down the road it means Sheamus can finally get back into the Intercontinental Championship picture. Only time will tell. So once again, I gotta chalk it up to Seth Rollins that he's got like 5 different feuds going with just about everybody.
Pretty damn much.
The truest definition of a multifaceted, multi-problem, just multitasking Seth Rollins that has beef with just about everybody, and I love it. Like I've been a Seth Rollins guy. I'll always be a Seth Rollins guy. I love the workhorse mentality, not only in the ring but storylines. It goes deep. You know, the CM Punk goes deep. You know, the LA Knight stuff. The pretty much anywhere he can interject himself. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Like it's wild how many places. He's like a multifaceted puzzle piece that can just about go anywhere it needs to go. So,
you know,
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Like, in the fact that, like, you know, he's wrestled through injuries, you know, he's been very outspoken about that, you know, and the fact that he continues to press on, you know, versus some of these professional athletes that stub a toe and they're out for like X amount of weeks. Seth don't take no time off.
Oh, he does not.
I think he's honestly taken off less than 6 months in his whole career.
Yeah, he really takes care of himself. He's really very pro, like, you know, good fitness, really treating himself, working through injuries. But I think a lot of that's going to catch up with him. However, if he paces himself, he could have a longer career if he chooses to. But I see him wrapping up his career within the next 5 years and moving on to doing some other things within professional wrestling. But right now, like you said, yeah, he's just all over the place. And I think what we could see is like all of his problems coming home to roost at one time, and him just getting, his just desserts, as one could
Legitimately
say.
hurt.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Seth, go Seth. Yep.
It's yeah, it's and honestly, like there's really only a handful, I would say, in the last, we'll say from like 2005 to current, we'll say a 20-year spread, that
Mhm.
have really stuck it out. They've been polished enough in the ring where injuries don't plague them as often. So it's a rough business, people. I don't care how you slice it. Like, there's no second take. There's no stunt double. So fuck the
And on
haters of
top, and then plus on top of it, no matter where you land on that mat, it's going to hurt because under those mats is freaking boards.
Boards
like
and
it,
metal posts.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so I continue to have an exuberant amount of respect for people that have the dream of becoming a professional wrestler. So I don't care what brand you're in, just respect across the board for pushing the envelope and entertaining us. So
Yeah.
that's my nice thing to say about other
So
companies.
it's still my dream to become one, but my ass is too old.
Diamond Dallas Page
I
can
mean,
do it. You can
So
too.
to be honest with you, there are a couple people I'm friends with on Facebook that do indies wrestling, and they were trained in Detroit by Kevin Nash, the Dudleys, and Big Papa Pump. They gave me the option to try to go to Detroit to do one of the classes, but I'm
right.
like, the price they're asking to do it and
Yeah.
be trained, I don't have the
How
price for that.
Yeah, how much is that? Did they say to you?
Oh, I
Is it
think
like 5 grand or is it 10?
somewhere's between, I think if I remember correctly, it was between 10 to 20,000.
Yeah.
Because you're getting trained by like really big legends.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because for the price they're asking for.
Yeah.
And I've seen the pictures of what the gym and the place they train at. It's pretty nice.
Just give Tim a black sheep mask and
You can pull it off.
Braun Strowman 2.0. He's got the beard, he's got the look, he's got the height.
Book it.
Sign him. I'd sign him.
If I was to say, if I had the money, I would definitely done it.
We got to win the lotto now. But problem is we have to play to win.
Yep.
We can pontificate what we'd spend our money
if I'm
on.
gonna go
but
play the lotto or anything like that, I'm gonna play the Michigan one because then I have a chance to winning it.
we
than
just
freaking
need
Powerball or Mega Million.
we need to just start pitching in. Like we'll pitch in like $20 a week and just buy it. Let's see, that $20 will get you about 4 tickets. So and we'll just split it. And then when you see us get 1 million subscribers because we're that damn good, it means we fucking made it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we buy subscribers just like the rest of them. So fuck you. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, 3 beers in. Okay. Digress. I had a beer. So
beer.
and exactly. And so the week prior, we had Lyra Valkyria interrupt Bayley's championship match with Becky Lynch. And I wish that little dwarf would just stop interrupting stuff because Bayley versus Becky is a banger match. And thanks for interrupting, you tool. But so we obviously see them face off to basically face Becky at believing Evolution. Hasn't been like advertised, but it's kind of an obvious setup as all the tropes do in WWE. But so Bayley and Lyra Valkyria ends up in a double pin. Go figure. So I feel like we're gonna get that triple threat at Evolution. For the women's Intercontinental, that just makes sense. I think anybody with half a brain cell could figure out that just makes sense. So, So we get Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed versus Sami Zayn and Penta, and pretty much ends how you think it would end. I'm sorry, but Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker deserve title belts. Put them in the ring.
They
Like,
do.
put them in the championship contention picture, please. Because could you imagine how, like, you got Seth as the Money in the Bank holder, so he's basically on the road to basically winning another championship. Could you imagine those three with belts?
Yeah,
That'd
it's
be
very
house.
easy. It's very easy to imagine all three of them with championships. What is not easy to do is make sure that the story stays interesting week after
Right.
week after week, because there's always the run-in by Breaker and Reed coming in, disrupting stuff, and then, Seth Rollins hitting a curb stomp on someone. So we definitely need to see more of them having dominant matches, winning dominant matches.
Versus the stale repetitiveness.
Right. So yeah, we've got to have some changes before we can get them to that championship level. So it's going to happen. It's just, how do we keep the story interesting for it to happen?
Yeah. We don't want to get in the land of basically complacentness and just be like, oh yeah, this is what they do every week. So, and I mean the Bloodline did that for a while too. So I mean, I feel like as long as you make what they do compelling, I think it's not going to get stale. It's just going to be like, hey, these guys don't care. And honestly, when you have someone who can hit a spear at 22 miles an hour, and you have a guy who does a top rope move like the tsunami, I mean, it's kind of hard to not be entertained by it. I mean, Braun
Yeah.
Breaker, I mean, he literally hits spears however he wants to.
It's however he wants it.
Poor Charles Robinson got freaking decked. I mean, like, I hope he's not injured. He said he was okay, but but it's yeah. So SmackDown kicks off with the most cliche beginning to SmackDown there ever has been and ever will be. Here comes Cody Rhodes. Blah blah blah. Like, I'm really annoyed that Randy didn't win King of the Ring and Cody did. They're pushing
people
Cody
were
down our
sick.
throat so much. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I mean, he won, the whatever, that Saudi championship, the Crown Jewel whatever championship. He won Royal Rumble 2 years in a row. He won the championship, lost it to John Cena. We're gonna put him back in again. Now he's gonna win this, win that. Like, he's literally on the outskirts. He's literally on, I mean, there's been multiple things of basically saying that he's on his way to retiring, and yet you keep pushing him down our throats. Like, you keep on putting Randy in these situations for championships, which I would rather see them push Randy Orton than freaking Cody Rhodes, because Randy's closer to being on the outs basically because of his body giving out than Cody Rhodes just leaving. Like, we don't have that many years left of Randy Orton at his finest. I want to see more of that. Cody's got years ahead of him because his body's, other than that one injury, he's been fine. So,
I think it also, I know I have said this many times on the podcast. We don't know what other metrics that they use to push someone. And also with the Saudi show, it is, in my opinion, in my unknown inside, guesses and opinion, that it's what makes sense and what is requested by the Saudi Arabian government.
yeah.
So it could have been, Randy, getting that, getting his champion, getting the King of the Ring crown, and then challenging Cena again, right? But having it on Cody might give us the opportunity to get our heel Cody that we've kind of been clamoring for at least about
I hope
7
so.
months.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Cody loses to
Bring back that black hair,
John
Cody.
Cena, and we see him do
Team
some
up with
heelish
Cena.
things to John Cena, because John Cena has been, again, this is multiple people saying, is that he's slightly going face. And so if we get Cody heel, I'm all for it.
Right.
Because the Cody we have now is gotten very stale. And it's like cereal that's almost stale. It's edible, but you know it's not right.
Right.
And that's what Cody is to me right now. And it's nothing against him. This is, again, we've said this a million times. It's creative. It's creative. And it's what they do with it. And obviously Cody's a draw still. I mean, but like, so is Randy. I mean, people in other countries are singing his music. I mean, how much more do you need to have the evidence to show that Randy Orton is still a draw after 25 freaking years, and he's still going strong, and he's still a draw.
People are still singing his theme in
You know,
the United States.
And it's the same. It's a similar argument that we had with LA Knight. It's a similar argument that we've had with Sami Zayn, or argument for LA Knight, argument for Sami Zayn, argument for Jey Uso. I think it's a matter of time. Yeah, Randy does get another championship run. You know, it's just a matter of time. It's what we need to push out. It's what WWE chooses to push out first. I do think Randy Orton does get another championship run. I think CM Punk gets a championship run. I think we do get heel Cody. It's what WWE and their hidden metrics and their hidden decisions decide to push out, you know, for whatever reason.
True. With CM Punk, I don't see him getting another WWE Undisputed Championship match. I could see him getting a championship match against like Gunter.
Yeah,
because that little push to Gunter on Raw.
Yeah, and he did beat Gunther in when they had earlier this year, when they had their like European tour.
Well, and I think too, I think we're definitely going to get a shakeup when it comes to the draft. So I feel like next year when we get this draft, I think we're going to see a lot of shakeups. I think honestly we will get a revival of the Usos. I see CM Punk moving to SmackDown and starting something new. I see maybe, a lot more shuffling around. Just because we need fresh stories. Because even though that they did the draft beginning of this year and they shook things up a little bit, it's gotten stale already, and we're only halfway through. And they've been doing this whole thing where it's like the brand splitter. You're supposed to be on your brand and your brand, but because of the Netflix launch, now it's just like anybody shows up on fucking Netflix bound for Raw. Like it takes away from brand supremacy on each brand having certain wrestlers only being shown on one show. And I get when they were leading to like, some of the PLEs where it's like they wanted to get as much time in as they could to build the story. But like you also still have to have some degree of SmackDown and Raw being separate shows, separate experiences, but they've kind of done away with. I mean, they're saying they're supposed to be done with the brand split, but I'm like, I don't buy it. It has to be that way.
I kind of wish it was ended because I like what wrestlers can go to both shows.
I mean, but you also don't want to be overly shown on one show with the same wrestlers, because SmackDown is now a 2-hour show, not a 2 and change. And I believe Raw is going to be the same thing. And so like when I watched SmackDown, it was like, it felt like it went by quick. So to like have other wrestlers from other brands come in, it takes away from the other wrestlers being on the show, because you have a set roster. That'd be like you watching a baseball game and some other guy just shows up on the team and takes away from another person's shine on the field. You don't want to take away from the roster you have. Like, I wish they would bring back Survivor Series and have it be brand versus brand versus
which
they can versus do, like faction versus faction.
They can do that, but I think the brand splits do mean something, but only when the network that is requesting certain stars is satisfied. So like with Netflix, they're probably going to just keep throwing at superstars that they've built up that are draws to get them on the show, because that makes Netflix happy. Same with SmackDown. NXT is its own monster. So if we see a superstar show up there that's either on Raw or SmackDown, then we know that it's going to be some type of crossover story. They may be introducing someone or whatever have you. I do think doing away with the brand split does give us opportunity for more stories, but it does take away from the exclusivity of seeing, Cody Rhodes on SmackDown or seeing.
Well, and you only have a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
If the shows were 3 hours, it would be a different conversation. But we don't. And so, that's my biggest thing is that they already have underutilized talent as is with the brand split. And so, you can only, so it's like these people have to show up to these shows that they're not going to be on. I mean, literally Alexa Bliss went to Saudi to have a 1-minute backstage segment. I mean, that's costly, not out of their pockets. I think the Saudi stuff, they all fly together, but I'm just saying, in other shows, throughout the whole country, I got to show up to do a backstage segment. I got to go through makeup. I got to put on my fit. I got to do all the stuff for these small segments.
Yeah, and when they come to town, when they come to Grand Rapids, I'm usually down there. There's times where you see NXT stars there,
right? And
that either they're doing
dark
matches or something like that. But still, you got superstars. They bring almost the whole damn roster there.
Yeah,
but half of them don't even.
Yeah, it's
appearance.
It's
I wonder how much of that thing is we're gonna get you used to traveling, or you're gonna play security, or this is part of your training. Obviously they need people for main event matches. If something goes wrong, they can actually pivot, and they have superstars that are available. So
yeah, but worst case scenario works for that. It's just, I'm just saying from a general standpoint of hey, we have this giant roster already, because then you misutilize talent, and then all of a sudden they get released, and you're that's creative's fault. And creative needs to work within the confines of the people they have, so that people can get proper, even if it's just a main event match, but at least some kind of visibility, so they don't get lost in the shuffle. But I can't tell them what to do, but maybe one day I end up on some video and Michael Cole talks about, this guy on the Lockdown podcast that they do this, and this. That's the dream. Someday we'll get there. But
I know you see a lot of these big TikTokers and Twitch people making it on there.
So
promo crap.
Anything is possible. But speaking of anything is possible, so we get the pairing of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair in a triple threat tag match between them, the Secret Harvest, and B-Fab and Meechin, and they come out on top, which again leads me to believe they're going to be put in the Fatal 4-Way tag match at Evolution. That only makes sense. I think they win. At least I want them to
I think
win.
they're a good team.
Because I love the unlikely pairing winning. So, and honestly, I like both of them individually. So, I mean, together, run it. So, so the Wyatt Six are back on our screens, and they have to face off against basically one person of each of these other 4 tag teams. So the Wyatt Six faced off against Montez Ford, Johnny Gargano, Berto, and Chris Sabin. And obviously they get the dub on that. And obviously Wyatt Six gets the last say, as they do. And honestly, I love the Wyatt Six. I think that they don't have to be as vocal. They speak with their actions. So, and I think that's good for them. That, basically, like, I don't have to have mic skills. Just let me just do the weird things I do, because Joe Gacy is unhinged. Dexter Lumis doesn't talk anyways. I've heard him talk on a podcast and it was weird. But he's literally he's not a talking character, and it's amazing that he's gotten this far with really not talking. Like
which
NXT,
I think is excellent.
Just no talking. His actions speak volumes. So, and obviously they get the win. No real surprise. But so again with this Evolution, when the women get to basically pick the champion or pick the person they face at Evolution, and we get the comebacks of one Trish Stratus faction, Stratus, and man. The present, the history and the present come together, and man, I love that Tiffany Stratton is so ego driven. She's so like, yeah, I picked you, but this ain't no basic fight. I love the arrogance of Tiffany Stratton because she backs it up. And I know we still have Naomi in the works still. So, I mean, anything can happen at this point. I love that, Naomi is basically laser focused on cashing in against Tiffany Stratton. So she has to legitimately be on her, I can't even think of the word, but basically on the lookout, for Naomi in any capacity, any match. So, we'll see what happens. So Andrade and Rey Fenix face off against Fraxium, one Nathan Frazier, and Axiom. And man, this match does not disappoint just because of the sheer athletic ability of all 4 competitors, mainly Rey Fenix and Axiom and Nathan Frazier more than Andrade. Andrade is more of a power play than a super athletic. But honestly, a good match, good clean match. Obviously, Andrade and Rey Fenix get the win. I'm all for these matches that just fill the time, because they're good matches, and you don't have to have some giant storyline to have good quality matches.
That is true.
So basically, when SmackDown kicked off, basically Jacob Fatu was running roughshod over Solo Sikoa and all of them. I mean, beating the holy hell out of them. And I love I love the fancy camera, in the back or whatever. And this wrestler's literally just waiting for them to say something and then come in. It's a little bit cheesy, but Nick Aldis comes out and he's like, hey, well, Jacob Fatu, you can find a tag team partner and you can face 2 of, one of the, from the bloodline or whatever. And then here comes Jimmy Uso, and just basically comes in and he's all like, Jacob's like, are you ready to get in where you fit in? I love the simplicity of the vocabulary of one Jacob Fatu.
Oh, me
Yeah.
too.
It don't have to
Straightforward.
be classy. It don't have to be glamour. Yada I mean.
Yeah.
So they face off against Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo, and obviously they get the win. Obviously, they don't get the last word with the rest of this conglomerate of Bloodline 3.0. So, and that's pretty much the show. But so we are getting Saturday Night Main Event is this Saturday, and then Evolution followed on Sunday. We have 3 confirmed matches. For Saturday Night Main Event being Gunther versus Goldberg, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Obviously, we have probably 2 matches. I'd say like probably 2 more matches to fill the card out. Obviously, I don't think they're going to have any female matches at Saturday Night Main Event. I think they're going to save all
I
that
don't think
stuff.
so. I think
I think they're
saving
gonna
it all for the women's
Yeah.
pay-per-view.
So, I mean, we should have Dominic Mysterio finally go against AJ Styles. That because of the injury Dominic had, which is a
I think they're gonna have a match at Saturday Night Main Event. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's predicted, according to multiple things. It's predicted, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the fifth match. I don't know yeah, I don't know what the 5th match will be, but I mean, I feel like it's going to be a tosser, but
Probably
Yeah.
just a filler.
Yeah, probably
So-
go either way.
Something that
Yeah.
nobody really cares.
yeah, it'll probably be like in the
Most
middle,
likely.
it'll be in the middle of the show. But I don't know. Maybe they'll put a decent match together. There's
Come on,
there's still
get
plenty
Karrion
of
Cross in a match.
God,
should.
please give Karrion Cross some
thank
fucking
you. Thank you,
something.
Tim. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
give Karrion
Thank you,
Cross
Tim.
a freaking
Like-
match. He puts
like,
on
yeah.
a great
seriously.
fucking matches.
You
Him
guys
and
are just
Sami Zayn put on a hell of a great match.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
just keep piddling away.
I'm a Karrion Cross fan all the way. When he was bald.
Yeah, I would definitely lobby for Karrion Cross in any capacity because they've done jack shit with them, and I feel bad. But
Yeah.
again, creative.
But his promos, man, he cuts.
Yeah.
Good. He's on fire.
So the women's Evolution 2, we have Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. We have Jade Cargill and Naomi in a no holds bar match. I don't know why they give all these fancy names to a no disqualification match. Like I would dare bet there's been 15 different renderings of different names for just a no DQ match.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's got to be up there. Like I would dare search and just like look up the different names. But so this is the one I'm actually looking forward to the most, more than anything else on the Evolution card, is Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez versus a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from NXT. Now, the reason why I look forward to this match is because there's going to be the most people in this match. And I want anybody on any of the other rosters to pin Roxanne Perez. And I say that because she's the placeholder for Liv Morgan. And if she gets pinned for the loss, there's our Judgment Day spin. So,
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. I doubt if Roxanne Perez gets pinned. I do see Roxanne getting the pin. So she's going to pin someone. And I think the most obvious feud would be Roxanne and Raquel versus Alexa and Charlotte. I think that's the most obvious feud that we can have. Outside of that, I don't know who they would put in a tag team from NXT.
I mean, yeah, I mean NXT. I mean it's. I would basically, in my mind, I'm thinking. I don't know. I'd have to really like
I don't even
mull
know
over.
either.
No, I don't think anybody really knows a lot of people from NXT, but I mean, I could see Fallon Henley and Jackson and then a part of Fatal Influence. I
Mhm.
could see them going into it maybe.
Or Sol Ruka and the
Well,
other
Jordan Grace
person.
is already in a match, so
I said Sol Ruka.
I know, but
Yeah.
Jordan Gray or no, she's with Zarya. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see Sol Ruka and Zarya,
Yeah.
but
I think that tag team, just because Sol Ruka does have a really spectacular finish. I really, yeah.
yeah, I could see that now that I'm.
Let's see, NXT has a lot of good
Well,
female talent.
Well, and the good thing about NXT is that you could toss anybody together and call them a tag team just because
Yeah.
it's still on the come ups. So, I mean, but yeah, I think Sol Ruka and Zarya, I think that'd probably be now Raw or SmackDown. That I mean, SmackDown, obviously, Charlotte and Alexa. Raw,
I'm gonna say it's gonna be Charlotte and Alexa.
I'm just trying to think
100%.
from
They
Raw.
do have they did win their match and get a title shot.
I don't think that was just. I don't know if they had said that was an actual like qualifier, at least directly or indirectly, but obviously that makes the most sense. But I don't know. I don't know who they'd bring from Raw though. Like it would be something
Maybe Kabuki Warriors. Maybe.
that I mean, yeah, they're
Yeah, I
both
can see-
back.
I can just-
They're both back. So I mean, maybe we get that. I think that'd be a freaking banger of a freaking fatal 4-way tag match.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
so.
you definitely add those two back.
So-
Yeah, they those two work great together in a team.
Oh yeah,
It's weird to me though that they haven't brought Damage Control back together. Like Bailey was out with an injury, and then they kind of did their own thing, and then Asuka was injured, and
You
then
got
they
what
kind of did their own thing, and so then
You know what? I think Damage Control without Dakota Kai is whack. So I think Io Sky with Asuka and Kairi Sane, I think them being Damage Control or something
yeah.
like
If
that.
they do, if those three do ever team back up and make a faction, it shouldn't be Damage Control because that was a
Right.
Bailey thing. But they should just come up with their own
Yeah.
type of Damage Control name. But who knows?
Yeah.
But I think Io Sky is more better off doing her own thing. And Asuka is maybe Asuka is probably going to get to the point where she's going to do her own thing.
Well, and I think a soft dissipation of the group without damaging any of the relationships is fine with me.
Same.
Yeah.
I think they've done it in a way that it's just kind of subtle that everybody's just kind of went their own way. You've seen Kairi Sane start doing her individual stuff. You have Asuka doing individual stuff. You have Io Sky doing individual stuff. So I think it was kind of it was just if you know, and if you don't know, you don't know, like kind of the dissipation of the group and without like being aggressive about the story. Like they could still get back together. They could still be like, hey, you want to go off the tag team belts? Sure. And so I think they've left the door cracked just a little bit to have a reunion of sorts, without being like cheesy about it. So,
True.
so the other matches at Evolution are the NXT Women's Championship on the line. JC Jane versus Jordan Grace. I see Jordan Grace winning this. JC Jane is a placeholder. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
she's been with NXT for a long time, but she's never really hit that upper echelon of talent. Unfortunately, I think there's a certain degree of creative, obviously, like that's an obvious reason, but like really she hasn't really like giving me that like shock and awe moment. But that's okay. I mean, you know what? If I had to play in the minor leagues, I'd still fucking play because I'm still gonna check and I'm doing what I love. So
Right.
I think that's all it really comes down to because like there's been a lot of up and comers from NXT that have, moved on to the main roster. I mean, we've had a flood between Roxanne Perez, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer. Like I think a lot of these people were already really established because obviously Julia and Stephanie Vaquer were very established anyways. So like, but they wanted to go to NXT before they went to the main roster just to assimilate. So it's tough when you get stuck in the rut of being in NXT, and then hoping someday you get that main roster push. And I wish she does eventually. I
I think
wish
she will.
nothing but the best for anybody on that NXT roster that has put in the legwork, week in and week out. So like, is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? I don't know. That's for creative and WWE to figure their shit out. So, because they could push anybody at any given moment as with literally the swipe of a pen. So,
Pretty much.
and then we have a battle royal for a women's title match. Now, my guess is that this is kind of like a breakout tournament winner, where you basically get to face whatever champion of your choosing or of your brand. So I think this battle royal will see a smothering of NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. And maybe an NXT person wins it and goes after the NXT championship. I don't know. But I think it's definitely going to be a surprise. I seen this earlier and I'm absolutely surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised because who she is, but so Tamina has not wrestled a match in 2 years, and yet is still on the roster and still under contract, everything else. Now, this is let's point out the elephant in the room, and that is that she's basically part of the bloodline. So that's the only reason why she still have a job. And I think maybe she's doing something in back.
That
Maybe
she's cousins with The Rock.
What I'm saying, like she's all part of the bloodline. So like, and so I think she's got. I mean, maybe she's doing stuff in back, but according to multiple sources, she's not even at.
She does do some dark matches that I hear.
Yeah, but she hasn't had a match in 2 years, and that's for multiple sources. But like, and then they don't see her at like regular house shows or anything like that either. So it's like you're getting paid, you're not doing anything, and yet they just cut all this. They just trimmed all this roster of people that were actually wrestling. Like, this is such The Rock's doing. It's not even funny.
I wonder if we're going to speculate on this. I wonder how much of it. I wonder how much of it is like she's maybe on a Quiet Legends contract. She's doing similar work to what Titus O'Neil has done for the WWE.
I mean, it's
however
possible.
she is on. Good for her. Good for whatever they have worked out with her, whatever her contract states. Whatever it is, awesome, fantastic, stupendous. To see someone lose their opportunity and their dream, or whether it's by injury or by budget cuts, I 100% wish Tamina the best, whatever that looks like. We don't know. If it's a long-term health issue, whatever it is, if she is still happy and the company is still happy with her and they're still willing to pay her and compensate her for her presence or ability or time, her knowledge, whatever have you. Yeah. Yes, she's not in the ring as nowhere near as much as someone like Natalia Neidhart. But then again, I don't mind. I don't care. The WWE is charging a lot of money for these tickets. The WWE is, has all these long-term contracts and bookings,
Well, and
whatever it is. Fine. I'm fine with it. Yeah,
she
good for
honestly is
her.
probably in the PC probably.
You know what?
Because people are saying that
Just
they
like
don't
you
they
were
don't
saying
see her.
just like you were saying in the minor leagues, if it's what, a Legends contract, all right, cool. I'm making money. I'm taking care of my family. I'm still in this business. You know what? You want me to be like an assistant to someone? How much does that pay? All right, sign me up. Cool.
Right.
You know what? I'm
Yeah.
whatever it is, I'm happy for, and I hope that she's protected. I hope that
She's the
surprise, surprise, she
secretary.
shows, surprise, surprise, she shows up at Evolution. She's
Well,
in a
and there
battle
was
royal or
there was
whatever.
talk of that too. So
Yeah,
I mean, and maybe this is just one of those get in where you fit in.
yeah.
And like,
and if that's the case, cool.
and
Whatever.
I mean, shoot, dude, because she's not signed to any like brand. So, now wouldn't that be a twist? Like all of a sudden we get Tamina winning the battle royal and tossing like 5 or 6 people and wins it all. And then we get the emergence.
Yeah.
And after
And
all the 2 years of nothing, we get the return of nobody Mina than Tamina.
Right.
And we get that Samoan just tossing bodies.
Yep.
Wouldn't
Who
it
knows?
be a conundrum? Wouldn't it just be fun?
You know what?
She
We
might
can
be
say
in
that-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be something, it's like, we haven't seen Ilya Dragunov since he got really,
Yeah.
really injured, and we, hopefully we'll see him soon. But it could be the same thing. It's like, hey man, you cannot wrestle anymore. But you have this contract with us. We're gonna honor that contract. Here are some roles that we want to fit you in. Are you down? And it's like,
100%.
hell yeah, hell yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. I'll do it. Honestly, like, shoot, when my kids are old enough, dude, I might apply to work for freaking WWE.
Yeah.
Tim, we're going.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So
Me and Tim are gonna set up ropes.
you know what? Fine. You know what?
Yeah, you can
You know what?
apply for it.
And you travel with the company. It's $100K a year. Sign me up.
100%.
But
It's
you
like
have to pay for your own hotel room and all that shit.
Well,
you know what? Fine.
Hey,
whatever.
Tim, our hotel is cheap in Texas.
You know what?
Oh
It's
god,
yep.
That was the
ghetto
dingiest.
hotel.
Oh my gosh, it was rough. It was rough.
Hey,
We were
it
there to
was-
sleep.
Yeah, it's all that matter. I was there to sleep. Go to SmackDown, the Hall of Fame. Stay and delivered in both nights of WrestleMania. That's all that
Yeah.
mattered to me.
The AC was at 1 temp and it was fucking ice cold.
Yeah.
It was.
So
I was okay with it. I enjoyed it. I slept good.
We had a duvet to sleep with practically because there was no like comforter. It was literally just like a glorified sheet.
Yeah. So I'm looking at just the superstars page on WWE, just trying to see who Raw would put together for a women's tag team.
Yeah.
And Stephanie Vacour is, obviously signed to Raw. You know what? I don't know who they would pair her with.
Yeah.
If they were going to choose Stephanie Vacour,
Yeah, it's we're gonna find out tomorrow.
yeah.
Definitely.
Like it's gonna be something like a backstage segment or maybe they have another like triple threat tag team match or something of that caliber. I think we'll find out tomorrow. And I think, it'll be what it be. So
Yeah.
but we'll wait and see. That's the mantra I live by. We'll just wait and see because we never truly know what we're going to get in WWE, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So we'll put a pin in this as we do. And we will see you guys next week with more nonsense, more pontification, and chaos as it be. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.